Thinks we have to have an open mind.
Just because we can fake something does not mean that the real event did not occur.
Moorpark, California, September 1989. This mysterious image of a black apparition was captured by videographer Daniel Hobbit.
You can't explain it, but you just know it's real.
Hobbit has spent 11 years trying to capture compelling evidence that ghosts are real. He shot this eerie video in the home of a very frightened couple, convinced they were living with a ghost.
They were experiencing strange occurrences in their house. In particular, this one guest bedroom upstairs. Doors closing and pictures being thrown off the wall, and crying and voices coming from this particular room upstairs.
Despite the family's refusal to ever enter the room again, Hobbit braced himself and went in alone with his video camera. Once inside, Hobbit said he felt that some force was directing him to an antique picture on the wall. The picture was a present from the husband's dead mother.
I was not alone. A black, transparent, shadowy mass of some sorts, of someone or something standing by the bed. I remember the look on the husband's face. He stands up and he's pointing at the television, shaking his head, going, "My God," he says, "that's exactly what I saw."
Hobbit even caught the apparition reflected in a mirror. This shot persuades Taff that we are not witnessing some camera trick.
There was a scene where Mr. Hobbit panned the camera to the right and caught a reflection of the image in the mirror in the room. If it's an artifact, it's not going to be reflecting in the mirror in the same angle as it would be as if it was actually there. So that rules out an artifact immediately. So then what is it? It's an unknown.
However, special effects expert Tim McHugh does not think we are seeing some disembodied spirit.
The footage we see here of the black mass forming in the center of the screen, I'm not convinced this is any kind of a strange poltergeist for a couple of reasons. There are some video cameras that, when they get to the point where they can't handle an intense brightness, will actually turn negative and will form a dark mass out of the light on the screen. Video reacting to light like this is very common.
But the frightened family who lived in this home moved out and never came back. And the man who shot this video still believes he captured a ghost on tape.
The researchers in this field have devoted the last 20 years of their life had never encountered anything like this before. It's very rare to see what they had termed as a black articulating mass.
Having this vision to change the world, but having this whole undercurrent of dysfunction that was underneath that vision.
Some people see a great deal of God in my body. They see Christ in me, a hope of glory.
He said, if you see me as your friend, I'll be your friend. As you see me as your father, I'll be your father. He said, if you see me as your God, I'll be your God.
Having this vision to change the world, but having this whole undercurrent of dysfunction that was underneath that vision.
We get a lot of reports of red eyes. Why is that?
You know, I guess it's just the most rotten color there is. Who knows? Why their eyes are red, I have no idea. But, you know, those are not always reported from the letters that I receive. Most people just report seeing the shadowy mass. And I actually more recently have, you know, it's like it's something that I'm always learning and taking note of, you know, whenever I get stories sent in to me. And like the smaller, more the hooded ones with the pointed hooded caps, I'm beginning to believe that these beings are a different type of being. I actually have a story that kind of relates what they are on my Shadows website. The ones that have the red eyes are the more blue type alien beings with the broad noses sometimes. I believe Whitley has described them in his books. But and when you put a hood over their head, it shadows their face, and their red eyes just kind of peer through. But the bigger, massive, shadowy-looking beings, they also seem to have red eyes sometimes that peer out at you. But that's something I personally even haven't experienced that much with the red eyes, but, you know, every once in a while.
Well, are you saying that these shadow beings are more extraterrestrial than, let's say, demonic or from another dimension?
You know, I'm more like saying that they're one and the same. I mean, because back in the days of the Bible, I believe that they were describing an entity that we call an alien being now, but you know, alien beings are known to walk through walls and do whatever. Who knows if it's technology or if it's something that they're able to do because of their more spiritual knowledge of things. So I think it's a combination. But as far as the hooded being goes, I mean, that is a being. It's not one of these wispy, shadowy kinds of creatures. But they can appear to look very much like them. But when they're, you know, about 3-4 feet tall, I mean, it's very similar to some of these smaller alien beings.
Well, let's go through the number of categories of beings that might be out there that you've heard about, or maybe you have even seen. How many are there then?
Oh, how many are there? Well, let's see. There's a shadow cat. Shadow spiders, really can't stand those things. Really.
Throw in shadow rodents, because even I saw those.
Oh, you have seen the shadow rodents.
Well, they got a long pointed nose, they have antenna, and they kind of have a body of an armadillo without a tail. And they scurry around, and I saw a whole bunch of them go across the road once. I saw them for about 2 weeks, about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and then they stopped abruptly, and I haven't seen them since. And they just scurry around like field mice almost. They're weird-looking animals. But, I mean, have you heard that described with the antenna?
You know, I could honestly say I have not.
All right. Well,
You're my first.
I'm your first. So throw those into the hopper. What else?
Okay. The ones that I call head and shoulders, they're the really big, massive guys that look like their head's directly connected to their shoulders. They could be anywhere from 6 to 12 feet tall, whatever they wish to take the form of. Then there are, well, you know, the hooded ones, the tiny hooded ones, which I said are seemingly more of an alien-type being now. And then there's the streaks, the little streaks of black, and then there's the black cloudy blobs.